Let's talk about simplifying rational expressions. The steps you need to take to simplify rational expressions are to factor the numerator and the denominator completely, and then cross out common factors and simplify the remaining expression. The word rational means it can be written as a fraction. So for example, 2/3 is a rational number. -5 is a rational number because we could rewrite it as -5/1. And 0.6 is also a rational number because we could rewrite that as 6/10. Rational expressions have variables involved. So we have 3/x would be a very simple example of a rational expression. X minus 1 over x plus 5 is another example. And x squared plus 3x minus 4 over x plus 4 would be another example. So let's look at some examples of how we can simplify rational expressions. So given our first example, we have 2x over 4x squared minus 2x. So my numerator on this example is already factored. I can't take anything out of 2x. But in my denominator, they have a greatest common factor between these two terms. So I could factor out 2x, and I would have 2x minus 1 left over. So then we want to cancel factors that match, or the ones they have in common, or we can also think of it as they divide out to equal 1. And so bringing over my final answer, I would have 1 over 2x minus 1 as my final simplified rational expression. So let's look at number 2. I have m squared minus 49 over m plus 7. So m squared minus 49 is a difference of two squares. So I could factor that into m plus 7 and m minus 7. In my denominator, I have m plus 7, which is already factored. I can't do anything extra to that. So then I want to cancel the factors that match, the ones they have in common. So m plus 7 would simply cancel out, and my final answer would be m minus 7. You don't have to put over 1 because that's just not necessary. Let's look at example 3. We have 2x plus 10 over x squared plus 10x plus 25. So 2x plus 10, we could take out a 2, and we would have x plus 5 left over. And on the bottom, in our denominator, we could factor x squared plus 10x plus 25 as a trinomial. So those are the kind we like to think about. What would multiply to be 25 and add to equal 10? So 5 and 5, both positive, would multiply to be 25 and add to be 10. And then I can cancel x plus 5, because that's the two factors they have in common, and bring over my final simplified rational expression. So I get 2 over x plus 5. You can write that with or without parentheses, and you might see it with or without parentheses. Let's look at example 4. I have x squared plus 8x plus 16 over x squared minus 2x minus 24. So in my numerator, I could factor this trinomial thinking about numbers that would multiply to give me 16 and add to equal 8. Both positive. So I would get x plus 4 and x plus 4 again. And in the denominator, I have another trinomial. So I need to factor thinking about what numbers would multiply to be negative 24 and add up to be negative 2. So that would be negative 6 and positive 4. So then we look and see which factors would match. Now notice I have x plus 4 twice. But you can only cancel 1 for 1. So like x plus 4 will only cancel another x plus 4 in the denominator. So that one would still be part of my answer, part of my simplified rational expression. And again, we can write these in parentheses, but we don't have to. So keep in mind that you want to factor completely your numerator and your denominator. Make sure you've taken out any greatest common factor if possible. And then simplify and write what's left over as your answer.